We are live.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Once second, have we been
Yes,
missed? Have the kids missed us? Honestly, truly,
they have. They have.
wholeheartedly, bitch, accountably, yes, all the keys, honey. But we're back. Raina Teeth is
Yes.
back, giving you a full course meal of content.
Giving you that fire, okay? Giving you
That
that.
full course meal of content. And as always, girl, contact Raina Tees for your spell and reading needs. We will leave our contact information down in the description box below. So,
Absolutely. Yes.
Miss Raina, we are talking about today the steps and the levels
From
from
elementary. From
elementary.
elementary to high level.
What? Summoner, bitch.
Yes. For the
Summoner
children.
for the kids. We've been getting a lot of questions from you guys. You know, a lot of you guys having interest in working with spirits, channeling, conjuring,
Yes.
invoking,
Yes. Yes.
evocation, things like that. You guys have been
Absolutely.
asking us. So
We are here. We are here to break it down for you guys.
that's right.
From the rooter to the tutor, honey, okay? Breaking it down and talking about these elementary to high level spirits, which we
That's
have worked
right.
with all of them.
Yes, we have. We have ascended from elementary to high level, and
Absolutely.
I think one thing that's important for a lot of people that are questioning, working with these types of spirits, or what's the best spirit to work with about this, and should I go to this spirit or this and that? You really have to take a step back and take stock of your level and your personal, I guess, confidence and comfort in working with these energies, because
Hmm.
there are levels to this shit, and you can't
Absolutely.
just, you don't even have your legs or the muscles in your legs or the bone structure in your legs to get up and start running, girl. You just trying to get up and start running with the big dogs.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a good. I thought it'd be a good idea for us to share. This is not the set in stone progression, but it is like
It's a starter point for you
it's
kids. It's a
it's
starter
the
point.
what do you call that? The when you're in school, bitch, the curriculum, honey. It is the
Yes, it is
curriculum
the
to follow.
curriculum. It is the curriculum. And I feel if you are a person who wants to take magic seriously, you
Hmm.
have to start from the bottom and work your way up. You can't
Hmm.
just jump into this and then just want to work with high level entities because you read about it or you stumbled on it and now you want to do evocation.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
No. And then want to call yourself a magician and have
No.
no basis on the ABCs and the one, two, threes, but you want to do high level, bitch, like science level, bitch, like, I don't even know what to call that shit.
Yeah. Mm-mm. So we're here to break it down for you. So let's
Yeah.
start. Let's start and let's talk about what the curriculum is and how we progress in our own spiritual evocators, summoners, conjurers, whatever you want to call it, and working with these spirits, where we come from. So, and what's interesting, and girl, the royalty has always been here on Raina T's. This is my sister, and
Yes.
we have traversed the planes and the levels together,
Yes,
and
we
we
have.
reach where we are and have gone through each experience together. And it's funny, I was just talking to you about how interesting it is that life seems to place us maybe not in this under the same script, but the plots are quite similar,
Yeah.
and where we have to either, you know, work with or tap into the energy of either separate spirits of the same kind on the same kind of level or playing
Mm-hmm.
field, or it's just that narrative a lot of
Yeah.
times what we see happening
Basically,
with us.
similar situations happen to us in a short amount of time sometimes. That something
Hmm.
happens to
Hmm.
me, that something happens to you that's very similar. and you know, we deal with it, but we always deal with it, okay, and make it through with the magic.
Where's the magic? Okay. All right. So let's get into the first, I guess, entry level spirits that would be comfortable for people to get into, and I think you should get into to have that comfortability in working with things like tools and picking up on energies and charging and consecration and things like that. We're first going to talk about the elemental spirits, right? So we have our 5 base elements, okay? We have fire, we have water, we have earth, we have air, and we have spirit, okay? So, you know, there are elemental energies and animal totems that are associated with these kingdoms. They call them kingdoms, though. So, you know, for the air, they have these sylphs. They sometimes resemble harpies or winged creatures, not really angels, but more like just kind of bird-like creatures. The gnomes that rule the earth kingdom, the salamanders that rule the fire kingdom. Sometimes they're associated with like water too, but mostly fire. And then we have the undines, okay, which are like the mermaid spirits and guardians of the sea. So we've worked with these spirits like many times, and it's like those are the type of spirits also that, you know, you don't really ever sleep on just because, okay, like they're kind of lower, because what you can find is that working with these spirits can sometimes, it allows you to be innovative in your working, and it allows you to kind of Lego build block your own kind of, how do I say it, connectivity to the goal or destination or aspiration you're trying to reach with your magic. For example, and then I'll ask you your thoughts.
Yeah.
Sus.
Yeah.
So working with the gnome spirits, you know, gnomes are deeply associated with the forest, the trees, the earth, mining, dwarves. You know, they from mythology, they're known as the miners, the ones that live in caverns. They're mining and farming the rich minerals and riches of the earth. In working with them, one can, you know, discover means and ways to enrich your own life, enrich your health, come in contact with minerals and essential vitamins to benefit one's health, as well as finding resources, finding new opportunities to come in contact with money, with resources, with you know, financial opportunities and gain. So I'll give you both a little dream tease real quick, and then So I work with these spirits, and I had a dream. And in the dream, I was seeing these spirits, and they were a lot smaller than me. It looked like I was, I don't know if anybody's ever played like a farm simulation or like you know, the Sim City kind of situation or something like that. But I was like the scope. I was like the macrocosm, and they were the micro. And I saw them building railroad tracks from a cavern. Okay, and the cavern was rooted in gold. There was a lot of gold inside the cavern, and they were building a railroad track to connect from the cavern to me. Okay, and when they built it and it connected to me, they started to, in their little like roller carts or whatever you call those things that they mine, you know, they push little carts. They were farming. They were kind of like traversing gold to me, little fragments of gold to me. And little by little, I started, when I awoke from the dream and, you know, time went on, I was running into different opportunities, little nicks, little dime, you know, coming into things like that, money being, you know, money just flying in out of random places. So that's how that association can be very beneficial. So what are your thoughts on like the early elemental spirits and some of your experiences working with them?
Well, I think that they are very important to work with. they are the elements around us: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. You know, these are the powers of this planet, which are very powerful. They are the primal forces of nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, as a magical practitioner living on this planet, that is home, that is the root, that is the closest thing around you. And it was the first thing that our ancestors had a connection with, I feel. So it is the basis. And it has
that
power.
That is root chakra, honey.
Yes.
That is root chakra tea.
Yes, and it has its power. It definitely has its power. You know, I worked with each of those spirits, with each of the elementals, and this was back in 2011. And I was already, you know, practicing my magic, honey, okay? I was already in, but it's always good as a magical practitioner to want to go back and do the elementary again, you know, to refresh,
sharpen up those skills.
And that's what I decided to do. So I would sit outside and meditate, and I did it 1 week for 4 weeks. So for every day I sat outside and I channeled the energies of each spirit. So for the earth, you know, I was channeling that spirit, and I would sit outside, you know, smoking my bowl.
Yes.
And I would hear them.
Let me ask you, was that also the time that you were working with your tree that you were budding in your backyard? Was that around that season?
Which tree?
Remember the tree you had, and you had like a telepathic relationship with it. You would water it. Was that?
Oh, that's in my backyard.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that was when I was living here. Back home.
Okay.
But this was like before. Yeah. This was like, yeah. This was when I was going to school. When I was dealing with Miss Rachel, honey, who I slayed. And which I did a video on. So yeah, so I was focusing on the spirits, and I would hear them. I would hear the gnomes, and you know, when I was working with the salamanders, I would hear them and I would see them. And I think that I have a sigil. I had something that I would like light on fire, and like I would see the spirit of it, you know, the little and it was just so, I was like really in depth in there. And when it was with the you know, with the wind spirits, I would hear the wind, and it will blow, you know. So yeah, I was establishing that connection, and reharnessing those abilities.
And that's a very, and to speak on that, that's a very good base to have, because this planet is alive. This planet is a living organism, and all the elements are a part of its etheric body. So to have connectivity with that is like having an abundant source, like a battery, like you're just always plugged into a battery to recharge and also discharge your energy, unwanted energy, dispelling energy, grounding energy, you know, working through that and learning how to channel that energy through your body is definitely important. Because, you know, you can't just, like, magic is not just about, like, you know, you turn over a piece of paper, you know, light a candle. I mean, it can be as simple as that. You know, you turn over this piece of paper, you read the incantation, and then you just, like, go about your way. No, like, there has to be biokinetic, you know, electromagnetic, you know, bioelectromagnetic chemistry happening, bitch, that you're opening portals in your own motherfucking room, bitch. Okay? Like, you have to be able to call and bring these spirits to you. And those are some of the most the easiest and responsive spirits to work with, because they are already naturally around us. It's just taking the time out to call them out and acknowledge them, and say to them that their presence is recognized, for them to give you more. Okay.
Yeah.
So, are we done with such topic, and should we move on to our next case?
Well, and I also want to say right quick that when I said that I was seeing the spirits when I was outside meditating, I was allowing my imagination to play out on its own. Okay? So I was seeing them in my mind. I was receptive to the energies around me, and I was also in an altered state because I was high. I was smoking weed. So all these things in combination can attract that energy to come forth and play with you.
Absolutely.
You have to be open and receptive to that.
And we'll also talk about how weed plays a role in some of the later tiers that we talk about when going through elementary to high level summoner, right? Because we'll talk about that when we get into psychic parasites, bitch, and ghosts and up forms, honey.
Yes, yes.
We haven't even gotten there yet.
Bitch, oh yes, but we do have a video on weed and magic, so I think we did talk about that a little bit.
Yes,
so
we do.
We do have that as a reference, but yes.
Okay, so the next tier on our list is familiars and egregores. Yes. Okay, so in now familiarizing yourself with the energies around you in conjuring these energies, you know, working with these energies, bitch, feeling
and visualizing.
And visualizing, honey, bitch, seeing these girls. And it's like going back to what you were saying also, like you were actually seeing, because imagination is simply the perception of an alternate dimension. You know what I'm saying? It's the perception of seeing that which is perceivable to the mind's eye. You know, and if it's brought close enough down to the tangible reality, then it's just the next dimension over. So that's what, if you see that and the girls are there, then they are technically there in that next plane, you know, parallel to your own. Okay?
Yes.
Just to put that out there, bitch. Okay. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes, it makes sense. Yes. Okay. So now we're going to get into familiars and egregore spirits. Learning to feel, again, these energies. You will then move into learning how to conjure and manipulate your own personal spirits. A lot of times, you know, in Hollywood and kind of like, you know, there's the glamorization of it. People like to make familiar spirits out to be household pets, which they can be. Yes, you can have a pet and they can be very attuned to your psychic energy and your perceptive psychic energy. But a lot of times they are without physical form, bitch, and just coming to you, or you have conjured them up as a cat, a dog, a bird, a sparrow, you know, crow, anything, spider, anything.
A man, a woman.
A man, a woman, hello. Okay? And just a side note on that, excuse me. Just a side note on that, working with egregores as well, a lot of, I guess, medium tier summoners and conjurers, they at some point get into conjuring up, you know, their own succubus, conjuring up their own sort of playmates, you know, not spirit guide, but it's another word for it when you kind of conjure up it's like an egregore. So basically like your own personal like guard, bodyguard, whatever you want to call them. Conjuring up that. And that doing so is you pouring your consciousness into a separate, energetic, unphysical, tangible form that is still here. It's still present. So what are your thoughts on working with these type of spirits?
I feel like egregores are powerful. I feel like we are surrounded by egregores.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every character that you see, every Marvel character, DC character, Santa Claus, the Tooth
mythological
Fairy,
creatures like the unicorn, dragons, you know, they exist on another dimension.
And they are egregores. Yeah, they are thought forms. And when multiple people know these beings or know of them, it does give them power. When you say the word fairy, you see it in your head. That is an entity.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
that is existing.
One of the more popular egregores, like you said, things like
Tinkerbell.
fairies,
Yeah,
Tinkerbell.
is the egregore.
They all have, histories and
And
backstories and
personalities.
folklore and personalities, right? Mischievous, trickster, funny, sad, mean, angry, things like that. That's giving life form to, an intangible source of energy. Over the course of time, with so many people giving life to that, giving energetic life to that, it becomes real. Not so, quote unquote grabbable, tangible, or even perceivable with the real eye, but it becomes perceivable enough that you can pick up on, and even with your third eye see these entities. So, that's what I think after working with elementals, you'll move into working with the familiar spirits, you'll move into picking up on, and I want to make a very interesting point with my sister here, honey, because this whole be channeling Storm, bitch. She be channeling this Storm from X-Men, honey. This whole is Weather Magic Supreme, bitch, over here.
You know.
Weather Magic Supreme over here, girl.
Yeah, and I feel...
And talk about the dreams that you've had with her.
Should I even give these girls that tea?
Give these girls that tea, bitch. Well, what is
I've had dreams that I have either been her or that I'm watching her, and like flying with the powers. I've also been revealed the secrets of the clouds. That happened too because I was focused on her. I was thinking about her and her abilities. She's been my favorite for a long time. So, and I wanted those abilities. So my desire for it. And yeah, I had a dream that I was taken to it reminded me of, those things that open up halfway and it's like to like see the stars. I don't know what that's called. Like it's
an aerodome or something like that.
It's like, yeah, like a dome that opened up, and I was in the dome. It was a huge dome, and I was in it, and it was in the sky, and I was being shown the clouds. The dome was open, and I was just, it was clouds and sky, and it's like, here, this is, that's how it was being presented to me. Like, here, this is yours. This is yours. And then I could see the colors in the clouds, and I was being shown the levels, like the different infrareds and the different layers of visual perception in the clouds. It's like I was
so motherfucking deep, bitch.
I was downloading this information, and when I woke up, it was raining, thunder and lightning outside. Okay, when I woke up, okay, and then when I got on the train, I was standing there, and in the train, it's going, and my head looked to the left. For the second that my head looked to the left, the lights went out. The lights went out, and I was like, yes. I was like, give me. And ever since then, like I immersed into weather magic, and I just got in, and I worked on it.
You're a natural, darling. You're a natural boy, darling. So that is definitely familiars and egregores, and my sister's example is one about invoking an egregore because you brought her abilities into yourself.
Yeah.
And they manifested inside of you to have those abilities, and work with. So definitely. Now we're going to move on to some of the shady side, tier 3. Tier 3, because once you get past tier 1 and tier 2, it's the play, light. Oh my God, so cute, it's so fun. Mm-hmm. But then you gonna run up and the bitch gonna have to try to check you and test you and make sure that you about this life.
Okay.
Make sure that you got the backbone that you talk about, and you're not just trying to play willy-nilly in the shit. And I think this is where a lot of people fall off in magic because they have this misconception that everything's just so woo-woo and sprinkles and magical and oh my God, and fairies and things like that. And, you know, things exist in a duality. Things in this universe exist in duality and on a spectrum as well, not just black and white. You know, those are the black and white exist in extremes, but there is a core gray in the middle too, and leading up to the black or the white or that sliding scale, whatever you want to call it. So when we talk about psychic parasites, okay, did I even say that yet, or did I? Okay, when we're talking about psychic
Yeah, no, you haven't.
Bitch. Okay, we're talking about psychic parasites now, which is tier 3.
Tier 3.
Where you will be tested.
This is where the darkness comes in, bitch. It was light. It was light, and yeah, bitch. This is when the dark cloud comes, bitch.
They come.
It comes,
because now
bitch.
you will be resonating. You will be an energy.
A resonating hoe. You a resonating hoe. That's what happens now, girl, because you resonating.
You are a resonating conduit of energy, succulent energy.
Yes.
And you will start to attract.
Ooh, look at that.
You will start to attract.
You will start to attract. Are you ready? Are you ready, daughter? Are you ready, daughter?
You better fight. You better fight, daughter. Because, bitch, if not, I mean, and this is where a lot of people that are doing magic experimentally usually fall off.
Fall off.
They're scared of that darkness, and they're scared of, you know, breaching through and, bitch, and you know, fighting. You have to have a confidence and a determination. You know, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about these psychic parasites and these darker psychic vampire forms. So what usually happens is, it can happen at any, you know, sometimes anytime, sometimes when you're in magic, doing magic, sometimes a little after magic, sometimes you can be under the influence, drinking and or smoking, but you've been in the practice of learning to control your energy. Maybe you have a certain spirit that you're working with or on you, lower elemental spirits, right? And then all of a sudden you'll have this episode where you'll get these thoughts that are really, really heinous and outside of you, just not of your character. They'll be telling you things like, you know, you're absolutely pathetic. They'll be calling you some of the worst names in the book, bitch. Faggot, bitch, you're gonna rot in hell, bitch, you're an abomination, bitch, you know, you're gonna fucking die, you should just kill yourself, you know, you're gonna rot, bitch, nobody fucking gives a fuck about you, you know. Your worst insecurities play out on the forefront in your own mind. And it can be, sometimes they'll get you so sickening, bitch, that you'll be with like friends or family member, honey, just enjoying yourself and kikiing, and next thing you know, you're being hit and played with all these mental thought forms that it's just like, whoa, like I'm having a low-key, like, depression, a breakdown, an anxiety motherfucking breakdown, you know, and it's like, whoa, where's this coming from?
Yes.
Astral parasites, okay? Looking to push you into a state of anxiety and fear. To feed upon that delicious fuel, bitch, that you're exuding for yourself. Because now you know how to bring and attract energy to yourself. So if they could just switch that over, you know, turn that dial a little bit and make you like fearful or afraid or like shook, like, oh my God, and you're just sitting there panicking and stuff. Literally your face is stone cold. Your face is just sitting, honey. Sometimes you can be smiling to the person to your left. Going through it
inside, honey. Okay.
That is what that is. That is what that is. So if you ever notice in your magical practice or your, you know, your spiritual evolution that you know it's just outside of yourself. You know this is not your normal thought patterns or thought forms, and it just comes from nowhere that you're receiving these type of thoughts. It's an energetic parasite that has attached itself to you. So I want to hear your thoughts on this, Rainy Tees. What do you think about?
I mean, you know, this is real, and you have to be ready for it, girl, because it can happen, and it's going to happen, okay? And you have to be ready to receive that and acknowledge her, and then separate yourself from her, and then
And thump if you have to.
Thump and then remove her away. You know what I'm saying?
Thump if you have to.
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah. And you might have to fight. You might have to use mental force, and that means exerting your will. And you know, saying no. And this can happen especially if you are a weed smoker. And I did talk about this in the Weed and Magic video. You could be doing magic, or you could even be with friends wherever, but you could be high and doing a spell work, and you can start getting negative thoughts. Having a voice telling you that your magic isn't gonna be working, all of this shit, and that is that type of entity. You have to learn how to ignore it and move forward with your spell work.
I think the biggest tip I would suggest on dealing with those type of entities and thought forms is to make them feel small. You know, bitch, like, for me, it's like, when you come with all that yak in my head, bitch, move something. Bitch, let me see this poltergeist. Move something across the table, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
shake something.
Whoop
you know,
me.
make me whoop me.
Whoop me.
Whoop me. I need to be laid out on the floor, bitch. You don't possess my body that I can't even. You're gonna have to lay me out like that for me to be shook.
Yeah.
And laugh, you know, laugh at when they're sitting there talking, laugh in your head, bitch. Like, whoop me, laugh.
You'll get better at it. Yeah. You'll get better at it over time. Trust, that first time's gonna be a fight, honey. Okay, that first time
it's gonna wear you out.
It's gonna wear you out, and you're gonna come. You're gonna be doubtful. You're gonna be like, oh my god, like what the fuck, you know. But eventually, you have to continue to develop that fortitude, that mental strength.
And you will get to a place of not even just like them hoes don't even. They go the other way because they already know. And even if they do try, it ain't even. It's not even a long hell. Like, it's not even a feeding frenzy. It's not, because they already know they're not gonna get that meal.
Okay. So we can move on. We can move to the next one.
Okay, so let's move on to the ascended masters. Okay, the ascended earthly girls. So these would be your spirits that are renowned. They were possibly walking upon this plane. You know, people and ascended masters like, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, who died and had reverence to his name. Jesus, you know, Buddha, bitch,
like, you know, the lower
girls, right?
Those type of spirits.
That earthly, they're very connected to the Homo sapien
and the earthly realm, yes.
The earthly realm, and humans a lot of times too.
Yes, and have been ascended, you know, and have been revered and looked towards, and you know, the type of spirits that were human that people light candles for. You know what I'm saying? That.
So let's talk about what that transitional period is for tier 4 spirits. Okay, we tier 3. Okay, tier 4 spirits. So when a spirit is, or when a person, or possibly, most likely a person, we were talking about ascended masters, when they die and their name is in reverence and it carries on throughout time, and people, you know, constantly call on them, and like Raina said, lights candles for them and praises them, have them as statues in the house, that's feeding energy to their name, you know, it's feeding energy to their memory, you know, so they are still in existence. Let me tell you, Jesus, honey, is one of the most well-fed girls. Even when you don't even fuck with her like that, you still be like, Jesus, you know, Jesus kind of tease. So, you know, they are constantly being given reverence and lifted up by the people of this plane. That's why they are ascended. Clock that tease, okay? That's why they are ascended masters. And a lot of times, you know, they are, at least the history of them and the impact that they left was positive. They were, you know, you do have negative ones like Hitler and things like that, and you know, the destructive people of this earth, but a lot more times it's the positive people that are ascended into that. So calling on these girls, so let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a good idea to call on those girls, or when should you call on those girls?
I mean, I think if you want to, that's what you want to do. If that's kind of the magic you want to partake in, you can. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, it does have its place. Like, I've had those type of entities visit me. Like, I've had the Lamadama spirit, which is it's like the entity that's like a black woman wearing all white, and she came to me in a dream, you know. Mm-hmm. So she exists, and even the Loa. I've had Loa come to me in dreams.
I was just about to get into that.
I've had Loa come to me. So these entities are
I've had the Orisha come to me, which uninitiated.
We have worked with Orishas.
Yes,
we have fed Orishas. Okay, we have fed Orishas.
Uninitiated, honey.
Yes, we have worked with these spirits. It does have its place, and let's see, like an entity, like let's say a human, because you can light candles for somebody who, because see in Brazil they have these entities called Maria Navaja. Is different type of entities, which is like a female type of entity who, you know, she was like love oriented, and it's like stories of her from back in the day, and people have statues of her, and they revere her for love, you know, and romance and pulling men and stuff like that.
It's just like the saints. It's like the saints. It's like a lot of the Orishas and the Loas, like you said. It's like those who have a history within humanity's history.
Yeah, just like the saints. The saints is like the Christian version of it. The saints are humans, and they have like a reveredness to them that you can call on them, and they can come through. So, you know, that does have its place. And if some people have an affinity towards that, if that works for you, that's perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? You can definitely, that could definitely be your basis if that's your tea.
Absolutely. You know, I think a lot of people, I think that is the gateway for a lot of people, though, you know, that they're working with those type of spirits and calling on those type of spirits, whether it be for luck or love or money or success. It's just like kind of like seen as a little bit of a prayer.
Ooh,
like say a prayer too.
But I also want you to talk about like kind of the negative aspect of these spirits as far as like their desire for the feeding and what happens when you
don't give honey. Them, like, okay, so let's talk about that now. When we're talking about a ascended spirit that was once human, you have to take into consideration that they once had the earthly human senses, okay? A desire for praise, a desire to be fed, a desire to be revered and worshipped and thought of. Like, we all have those innate desires in us, bitch. You know, a girl come give you a compliment and you're like, bitch, I'm team Raina Tees, honey. Like, of course, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel elated. It works the same way for these type of spirits. And a lot of times, okay, and this is why, you know, for me personally, my own personal opinion, I would not be married to any one spirit, bitch, because, you know, I'm a free bird, bitch. You cannot tie me down, girl. You know, I'm not gonna be So it's kind of like when you get into these marital arrangement with these type of spirits, or you pledge your allegiance, or you build altars for these type of spirits, these spirits become very possessive, which is a human trait. They become very jealous, which is a human trait. Or a earthly kind of, you know, a humanly experienced trait. And they can be petty, and they can cause roadblocks and obstacles in your life.
Yes. Hello.
You know, upsetting your course, disrupting your love life because they personally don't like the person that you're with. Oh yeah, all type. I've heard plenty of stories of, you know, especially a lot of times the lower spirits and the Orisha spirits.
And the Orisha girls too.
They get in the middle of people's relationships. They
fuck it all up, honey. Be setting houses on fire and shit.
No, ma'am. No. No. So it's something to think about because it does require a devotion when working with these type of masters, and a real commitment and a real allegiance to these types of spirits, because they were once human, or they did exist in the history of humans' history. So they have those traits. They definitely share in those traits with us. And a lot of times, so some of the higher deities too, they definitely have those traits. The girls are not above it, but when you look at more of the earthly ascended spirits, they seem to revel in that more, a little bit more, that pettiness, that jealousy, on the negative side, pettiness, jealousy, fucking shit up, getting in the middle of shit, things like that. So that's my take on the ascended girls. Yes. So now I want you to bring in, the planetary spirits. What are you feeling about the planetary spirits, girl?
The planetary spirits, they have their place, They have their place. I did work with them. I have an experience with a few planetary spirits, in particular one from the planet of Neptune.
Yes, bitch.
Okay, from the deep waters.
So you were getting into that dream team, bitch, that astral dream working team.
Yes, and I worked heavily with that spirit, and it was a very calm, serene, very midnight in the beach waters, calm, like floating type. She gives me yemayatis,
yes.
She does give me that, because that's how she presents herself, is a woman with a veil over her, like a thin veil over herself. And she grants powers of psychic, telepathy, telekinesis, okay, remote viewing, mind control, mind reading, okay, just a few of the things, and I also work with the planet of Jupiter as well, to attract, and with the symbologies and all of those things, and focusing on the planets and attracting that energy, and just, it's something I feel like you have to continuously work on. I had more success working with representations like with a sigil, an entity, than like the actual like planet itself, because when I did it, I focused on the planet, and kind of like attracting the magnetism, the gravitational field, to myself. You get what I'm saying? Like to
I totally do, and I was gonna elaborate on that point about, in saying that I was gonna elaborate on that point by saying that when you tune into those planets, it's for you to take in or invocate their traits, So if you want to be more assertive and dominant or strong or confident, you would, work with Mars energy. If you want to have better communication skills, able to formulate better thoughts and ideas, creative ideas, ingenuity within your own mind, working with the energy like Mercury, and so on and so forth. Bitch, down to Jupiter with expansion and job and success and love, to Neptune, psychic receptivity, Venus, love, things like that. So when you're working with these major spirits, I think it's less of you trying to use that spirit. It's kind of like working with elementals, but on a higher scale.
Yeah.
It's like working with the elemental spirits, but on a higher scale of you incorporating a energetic frequency or frequency of that astrological association into your being.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also want to say that the planets, whether we want to acknowledge or not, constantly rules and dictates a lot of shit that happens, a lot of lessons that we go through, and a lot of our own evolutionary process. We all have, bitch, our natal chart, girl. When we're born, honey, Miss Mars was over here, Miss Moon was over here, Miss Sun was in bitch, and excuse me, Saturn, Uranus, and the rest of the girls was all over here. So it does tend to play out in a certain in certain ways, in certain relationships in our lives. It brings about certain lessons and certain personality traits. And it doesn't mean that you're constricted to that. It just means that that's your plate. And you can just as easily switch or practice downloading another trait if you need. But it's like Raina was saying, it's something that you do have to consistently keep up with. And it's not something that I think you're going to see externally. It's something that you're going to bring about internally. So, yeah. So now I think we can move on. So I did miss Ghost. Okay, I did miss Ghost. So do you want to touch on that, or do you want to leave that in the realm of like Ascended Masters? Like you have touched on it a little bit.
I mean, Ghost. Well, I feel like Ghosts have their place, but it's an energy that I really stay away from. Because
the girls get hungry, bitch.
And they get needy, and you know, and it's like I don't feel like you want that. And it depends. Look, if you're into necromancy, then that's your thing. I had an experience with one I could share. You know, since we have stories or whatever. And it's like, I'm giving you guys this tea, and listen, I'm giving you guys like this is personal tea. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like I'm giving you guys a cup, honey. Like. Only Miss Raina over here knows this tea. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel some kind of way about even sharing this shit. Why should I even tell y'all?
Don't share it, bitch. Don't share it.
For real, like, why these hoes gotta get on my fucking magic tea? I don't know, girl. Like, listen. Like, I had it with her, and she made her presence known, and it was like, okay, girl, yes, you know what I'm saying. And that was basically it. You know what I'm saying? And she was attached to an object. She was attached to an object that I found at a location, and I brought the object back home. And she made herself known in my house. And she also made herself known in a dream as well. And that was basically it. And I still have the object, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? If she's there, she's there, honey. But like, I saw her. She's paid, and it's like that's it. You know what I'm saying? So like, but she's there. Like I respect what it is or whatever. But I don't use the object. But she's there in the catalog, honey. If she ever needs to, for whatever reason, girl, I have her. You know. But she's there, and that's the type of bitches that we are, honey. We have objects with spirits in them. Okay.
To elaborate, to share my story on that and elaborate on that. We've had friends that have passed, and they have come to visit us. They have made their presence known to us, and for me, dealing with ghosts. I'm not like a ghost hunter, so it's not like, bitch, I'm looking, but I know my girls can come through, bitch, if I need to call them girls. I know if I need to conjure those girls, they will be present and they will be listening and they will be attentive. I feel like, though, like Raina was saying, it does become a bit of an attachment.
Yeah, because they're quick to want to help you. They're quick to want to like help you, like serve, like a hungry puppy, like like just. And it's like, okay, girl, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you don't want to attach that energy because I don't know, they might want to drain you and drain your energy and like kind of like suck from you that life force because they don't have it.
Right.
But go ahead, girl. Sorry.
No, I was definitely like agreeing with what you're saying. It's just personally not something that I think we've dived into as heavily, but we definitely have had experience in receiving and dealing with. Okay, so bitch, now we're going to talk about major deities and godly spirits as well as angels, demons, excuse me, and some of these darker spirits, honey.
Yes.
So you already know, honey, if you've been on Raina T, bitch, how we be talking over here, honey. Like testimonials and reviews, working with these spirits.
Yes. Content.
Meal. Okay. Full course meal with an appetizer and a side, bitch. Okay. So when you get to this level, okay, tier 5, or is that tier 6? Tier 5. When you get to T5, bitch, star 5, you need to be so confident in your shit. It needs to be the type of thing where you are comfortable with preparatory immersion. You are comfortable with seeing manifestation of the spirit and omens and things happening in relation to the spirit, and you're not like freaking out like, oh my God. It's with you being secure enough in your spiritual practice that you don't feel the need to go off bragging to nobody. You know, we don't, yes, we give you girls reviews and testimonials and stuff, but it's not like we make a front out of working with and think, oh my God, girl, let me tell you, girls, I just had, I was working with Dante Lion, girl, and he came through over here and I saw this episode. I mean, I know that would be cool, but for me, I think in respecting that personal magical experience or personal spiritual experience with that entity, it's a lot more respect that I think is given, in my opinion, my own personal experience.
Girl, we have over 15 years of tea.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're still sitting timeless, bitch. 21. 21. Oh, fresh out the pot, bitch. Still sitting. But so just to go in on that a little bit, what are your thoughts on giving to people? Share some of your thoughts on some people that would like to go head first into working with these spirits, not knowing these spirits, or maybe like picking up from word of mouth or listening to us, and they haven't really followed the steps.
Either two things can happen. The first is that it's not going to work, and the spirit's going to pay you, and nothing's going to happen, or you're going to get the spirit to come through, give you what you asked for, and you better be ready to walk through that door. And if you don't, you're gonna get fucked. Okay.
There's also the situation where a spirit will take advantage of you. Okay, a spirit, you go to these spirits and you're like, oh, let me just give you so much homage and let me offer you this. And I mean, a subtle initial offering of something is always gracious, to do. But don't overspoil, don't overfeed, don't
overfeed. They need to come through first.
They need to put it in the work.
Yeah, they need to present first. Okay, first come through, then you get the meal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You are working with the promise of the meal. If you come through, you get her. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely with those spirits. Now, there are some spirits that I feel like you don't have to feed, that I feel like them just doing that thing that you sent them out to do, to bring you that object or the task that you sent them out to perform, that is their payment. I believe that. So
and she always tripped me out when she said that, because it just sounds like it just sounds like such a sorceress bitch. Like, okay, bitch, do the work, honey.
Do the work, and that is their payment, because that is why they are here, because they want to be called upon. They want to manifest. They are living power, and power wants to act. So if you send power to do something, that's what is that. There's power just out there. And as a magician, as a witch, you grab that power and you throw it out to your target.
Yes.
So we're using large objects and throwing it. Okay, we are using like fucking catapulting motherfucking fireballs. Okay, yes.
Ooh.
So I feel like with these spirits, you definitely have to study about the spirit, learn about the spirits. Okay, preparatory immersion, absolutely.
We have a video on that.
Yes, you have to take your time. If you're actually really, really serious and you're gonna actually work with these spirits, and you're serious about getting results. Yeah, and getting results. Okay, having the shit work. You're gonna have to do preparatory immersion. You're gonna have to follow a system. You're gonna have to read or find somebody, I don't know, but or online is the fastest way. Okay, do your research, honey. You'll find her if you look. Okay, and find out how to evoke, how to summon. And you
And
can also.
another, well, I was going to say another footnote of tea would be also, take when you're reading up on the blog sites and websites and things like that, and they're talking about their own personal experience, keep in mind that spirits work through us and can manifest to us, like for example, when I work with the spirit Boom, okay, the Dutch/Duchess Boom. Boom manifests itself, and the pod. They both manifest themselves to me as female. And in text and a lot of other people's experiences, they perceive them as male. So, and sometimes they perceive, I've seen it range from people seeing them as children, some people seeing them as, the picture that's represented by them in the Goetia, some people seeing them as this, that, and the third. So don't feel like if you're not perceiving it that way or you're not experiencing it that way as another quote unquote high level magician or another person out there is talking about their experience, that your experience is wrong or that it's inadequate or invalid. These spirits definitely do work through us, and it's like they kind of log into our mental software, our spiritual software. They kind of scan the data of what's going on inside, and then they work through the coding that's already there to give you what you can handle, kind of tease.
Your imagination. They work through your imagination. That's what they use to manifest. And you should be, you should be somewhat knowledgeable and trained in allowing your imagination to flow, to allow the spirit to present itself to you, and speak also, because you have to be able to hear it.
Okay,
so you have to manifest. Yeah, you have to manifest your clairaudience, your clairvoyance. So this is practice. So you can't just jump into this with no type of you can, and it may work. You may just do the hand movements and all that shit, and the spirit may live for you. It's individual results. Okay, yeah, it's individual results. But that's its own video, girl. It could just take all day to talk about that. So
right. Yeah. So I think we've gone through enough of the tiers and enough of the, a bit of the curriculum of getting from elementary
just a little light for you kids.
High level spirits. So let us know in the comment section what you guys think about this video. Share some of your experiences on your own. Have you experienced any of these number of tiers?
Yeah.
Have you done this all, bitch? Like, where you at? How you feeling? And we will definitely talk to you guys in the next one.